This iPhone SE3 is completely dead. The customer sat on it, and now their precious data is trapped inside. At first glance, the phone looks almost perfect. No cracked screen, no shattered back glass, just a subtle bend in the frame along the right side. That bend sits exactly where the motherboard lives, and that is not a good sign. Plugged into the charger, it draws absolutely zero power. 0 amps. Nothing. Once the motherboard is out of the housing, the damage is undeniable. The board bent with the frame, and when a motherboard bends, something on it breaks. Now we find out what. I connect the board to the bench power supply. The moment power is applied, before I even touch the power button, the current maxes out. That tells us everything. There is a main power short circuit on this logic board. I probe the battery connector with a multimeter, and it beeps on both sides of the connector. This confirms the main power rail is shorted directly to ground. The cause is confirmed. Now we go find it under the microscope. Let's take a look at the board under the microscope, and we'll see if we can spot any problems. Under the microscope, the culprit is immediately revealed. The baseband power management chip, also the BBPMU, is shattered. I can see cracks running across it with my own eyes. And here is what makes this repair so brutal. This chip doesn't sit alone. On all sides, we have the main power management chip, the NAND flash, and the audio IC, all locked down with Underfill. And directly behind the BBPMU sits the baseband CPU, also underfilled. Underfill is an industrial epoxy Apple injects under these chips to bond them permanently to the motherboard. It makes the phone durable in a drop, but it makes repairs like this extraordinarily difficult. To remove the BBPMU, I need to clear every trace of that underfill from around it without disturbing a single thing nearby. One wrong move means a damaged trace, or a lifted pad, or a lost component, and if that happens, the repair becomes needlessly complicated. Temperature is everything. Too low and the solder pads won't release the chip cleanly. Too high and the solder balls leak from under the surrounding chips, creating a brand new short circuit. There is no margin for error. I set the hot air station to 265 Celsius at 60 airflow and begin clearing the underfill from around the baseband power management chip with a precision cleaning tool. The goal here is isolation, making absolutely sure that when this chip comes off, nothing else comes with it. The gaps between these components are almost non-existent. Every stroke of the tool here has to be deliberate. One slip and a neighboring component is gone. This step takes time, and it cannot be rushed. With the surrounding underfill cleaned, it is time to remove the chip. Rather than direct hot air, I place the board on a preheater set to 185 degrees Celsius. The solder pads under the BBPMU need to reach 217 degrees Celsius. Just enough to break the bond without catastrophic heat exposure to everything around it. Then I load a large tipped soldering iron with a blob of solder and press it directly onto the cracked chip. I position my pry tool underneath, and within seconds the heat conducts through. The solder pads reach temperature, and the chip releases cleanly from the board. The shattered PMU is off. Now comes the most tedious part of this entire repair, preparing the pads for the replacement chip. The surface left behind is covered in old high-temperature solder and the remains of the underfill. None of it can stay. I need to clean up all of the old high-temperature solder from the board and the remaining underfill And to do this, I first apply some flux and then I tin the pads under the chip with some low-melt solder. This mixes with the solder on the board and brings down the overall temperature needed to melt the solder on the pads. Then I use a copper desoldering braid to wick away every trace of solder until the pads are completely flat. The replacement chip has to sit perfectly flush. Any raised solder ball and it won't seat properly. Once the solder is cleared, I return to the underfill, working it away methodically with cleaning tools and controlled heat until nothing remains. The heat used needs to be hot enough to soften the underfill, but not so hot that it melts the solder holding the surrounding components. I use 265 Celsius at 60 airflow and a combination of tools to carefully scrape away all of the underfill from the pads and the surrounding components. Once I'm satisfied that all of the old underfill is removed, I return to prep the solder pads one final time. I apply some fresh flux to the board and tin the solder pads once more. After that, I again use a desoldering braid to carefully wick away all of the solder from the pads, making them nice and flat. I do this twice just to ensure that any dirt or oxidation that may have built up on the solder pads is fully removed, and the chip has a nice clean surface to make contact with on the logic board. Once I'm satisfied that the area under the chip is fully prepped, I clean the entire area with isopropyl alcohol and toothbrush and a microfiber cloth until the board is absolutely pristine. Before the replacement chip arrives, I need to answer the only question that matters to the customer. Is the data still intact? I connect the board to the power supply, and before I even touch the power button, zero current draw. The main power short is completely gone. I press the power button, and the Apple logo appears. The device has been saved. The boot current climbs healthy and steady. And now we wait for it. And the phone powers on fully. I enter the passcode and unlock the device. Photos, messages, files are all there. The data is safe. The replacement chip is on order, and once it arrives, this phone goes back to the customer fully functional. But the data, already safe, already backed up. If you have a dead device and need your data saved, message me for a quote. Link is in the bio.